Hi again, Teacher Paul. Well, we've begun a series. We just had an episode last week, an introduction episode. It was the tale of three brothers, Joseph, Judah, and Reuben. And Pastor Dunbar, Jason Dunbar, brings out some really interesting things and practical applications that we can make in our life too. You're going to enjoy this. As always, like and subscribe. We don't want you to miss one. See ya.
There's a lot of pain involved there. All three of these men experienced so much pain and emotion, and there was a lot of thoughts that came in their mind. They had to process all of this. Why is it that two did not process it correctly, but Joseph was able to? Why is it Joseph didn't cave into temptation, but his two older brothers did? Well, let's look at Joseph. First, Joseph learned to identify the lies and find the truth in a situation. Joseph was given promises by God that his brothers would bow down and worship him one day. He would be a leader above them. They would bow down before him. They would be subservient to him. He hung on to that truth, knowing God is going to fulfill this. And then when situations came into his life, he was able to identify the truth and the lies, and he rejected the lies and accepted the truth. Genesis 39, 8 through 9, we see his master had entrusted Joseph with everything in the house. His master Potiphar, when he was a slave to him, he didn't know anything that he had, it says, save the food that was placed before him. That's how much he could entrust Joseph. He knew Joseph was so good, I did not have to worry about anything. He was just worried about, what am I going to have for supper tonight? And when he sat down and the food was brought before him, wow, this looks delicious. You did a great job, Joseph. Because Joseph managed the whole house. But there was one thing Joseph did not have control over, and that was Potiphar's wife. And Joseph knew that. Joseph knew she's off limits. I control everything, but she does not belong to me. She belongs to my master. In verse 9, we see that he realized, how can I do this great wickedness? He saw that fornicating with his master's wife would be great wickedness. And then lastly, he realized he did not want to sin against God. He knew, if I do this thing, it is sin against God. I'm sure he had some thoughts going, hey, you deserve this. You deserve her. You do everything in this house. Why can't you have a little pleasure for yourself? Look at the rejection you've experienced from the brothers. You're in Egypt. Nobody's going to know. You don't have any God-fearing people around. He was in a heathen land. His family wasn't there. There was no God believers around him. He was all by himself. And I'm sure the lies of, hey, you can do whatever you want. But he knew that was a lie. And he said, no, God sees me and I want to please God. He did not let his ego, his pride, make him think that he deserved something that didn't belong to him. How about Judah? Well, Judah, he believed the lies. He believed that he deserved whatever his flesh desired, and he sought relief from the pain. The pain of what? Pain of rejection from dad. If you look in Genesis 38, go through that chapter, especially at the very beginning, guess what you find? His eldest son dies because he's wicked. God kills him. It's actually interesting. Judah's son is the first individual that God kills for being wicked. Up to that point, there were groups of people. When Noah was spared, God killed the whole group of people on the planet except for Noah and his family. You have Sodom and Gomorrah. He killed a whole city of people. But Judah's son is the first individual in the Bible that God says, that man was wicked, so I'm going to kill him. And he killed him because of his wickedness. Well, there was a custom, and God was pleased with this custom during that time and in that land. If the eldest son had a wife and did not have a child with her and he died, it was the duty and responsibility of the second brother to marry her and give her his seed and to have a child with her, and that child that they had would be in honor, his name would be in memory of the oldest son. And so Judah's next son comes up and he doesn't fulfill that responsibility. It says while he's with her, it says he spilled his seed on the ground, and God was displeased with that. Even though the eldest was wicked, God still wanted the second son to do right, and the right thing was to have a child for his older brother. And so God ends up killing Judah's second son. Well, Judah has 3 boys, and his youngest, he's afraid that something might happen to him, and so he tells Tamar, this daughter-in-law, go back to your dad. When Shelah is full grown, I will give him to you. Well, in process of time, we find out that Judah's own wife now dies. He's had 3 deaths in his family. 2 boys and his wife. That's a lot of pain. That's a lot of grief. And he's dealing with all this. He doesn't know what to do. He wants some relief from this pain, so what does he do? He goes into a city and he looks for a prostitute to fornicate with and just try to find some relief from his pain. Well, it ends up being his daughter-in-law. She made herself unknown to him. She made herself strange to him. And she ends up getting pregnant by him. Judah believed the lies that he deserved this, that he needed to find relief from his pain and not work through the pain, but instead to just ignore it and to just do whatever pleases you, to just satisfy yourself. What's key with Judah, though, is when brought face to face with what he had done, he accepts responsibility. In Genesis 38, 24 through 26, he hears that Tamar is pregnant. And he gets mad. He even says this, he says, let her be burnt. He wants her put to the fire and killed because, she's played the harlot. She's had children by whoredom. And Tamar says, by the man that owned thee, she had Judah's staff and signet. That's who I'm pregnant. And when Judah gets those and hears that, he repents. And we see that with this phrase, she hath been more righteous than I. He realized, I was wrong. I did not give her Shelah, my son, when I should have. And he's saying, I bear the blame. Don't put the blame on her. She ended up not being burnt. She ended up giving birth to her children. And Judah says, it's on me. I was wrong. I should not have done this. That's key right there. Accepting the blame. When you've done wrong, taking the blame. Then we have Reuben. Well, he believed the lies. He said, I deserve whatever my flesh desires. And he sought relief from his pain because of rejection from dad, rejection from mom, and her rejecting his gift. What's so sad is he never confronts his dad about what he has done. It's kept quiet. Somehow dad finds out about the situation, but Reuben never comes to dad and says, Dad, please forgive me. Instead, he's always looking for a way to try to get into dad's good graces. When Joseph is thrown into the pit, Reuben is in his mind, he's scheming and he's thinking, my brothers are going to try to kill him. And so he thought, what I'll do is I'll wait. I'll get them to just leave him in the pit and then I'll come back and rescue him. And I think Judah's thought was, I'll rescue Joseph, bring him back to dad, and dad will be pleased with me. And I'll be this big hero because I've saved Joseph. And then his brothers instead sell him into slavery. And when they give him his money, it's just, shut your mouth, don't tell dad what we did. And his whole plan goes down the toilet. What's sad is that later on, when they have to go down to Egypt to get food, if you continue to read through Genesis, they have to bring the youngest brother Benjamin, and Jacob does not want Benjamin to go down to Egypt. And Reuben says, Dad, let me take him down into Egypt. And Jacob says, no, what if he doesn't come back? And this is what Reuben says. Instead of accepting the blame if he can't bring him back, he tells his dad, Dad, if I don't bring him back, go ahead and kill my 2 sons. Imagine telling a grandfather, if I don't fulfill something for you, you can kill your grandchildren. He refuses to accept personal responsibility and say, I have failed, I will bear the blame. No, instead he always wants to shift it and put the blame on someone else. Reuben will do anything but accept failure in his life. Hi, my name is Pastor Dunbar. I'm pastor of Ramseur Baptist Church in Paris, Texas. That's in the northeast section of Texas. And if you like this, you can go on our website, rbcparis.org, and find the links to our channels. We hope you enjoyed this.